Are you scared to try CrossFit? In this short episode of the podcast, we're going to talk to real CrossFitters about what it's really like doing real CrossFit in a real CrossFit gym. So if you want to hear more and get the real story, stick around.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
Welcome back to another episode of the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast. I'm Coach G, one of the coaching team at CrossFit Edwardsville. And today on the podcast, we're going to address one of the most common things that comes up is maybe you're scared to try CrossFit because a lot of people have heard some things about CrossFit. Maybe you've seen some things on television or on the YouTubes, and maybe you have some preconceived notions about CrossFit. And that's very, very common. A lot of folks, they see elite level CrossFitters doing amazing things on the YouTubes. And for many people, that's really inspiring. For other people, it's kind of scary and intimidating. And they start to think, do I have to be in really good shape before I start CrossFit? Do I have to be an elite athlete before I go and do CrossFit? Are these people going to be judgmental or mean, or they look at me like I'm not good enough to be a part of their community? Maybe that's something you're fighting. Maybe you've heard some sort of preconceived notion. Maybe you have some sort of you've heard a misconception that CrossFit is foolhardy or haphazard or unsafe. And I think that in this episode, we can kind of pull back the curtain and demystify what it's really like in a real CrossFit gym by talking to real CrossFitters and just asking them to tell us, hey, what do you really think? Being a real person really doing this. Those are the stories we're going to capture today in this short episode of the podcast. So if you have some fear, some apprehension about joining the CrossFit gym, I think that you're going to find this episode really refreshing and it's going to really resonate with you. So we're going to start with Angie Lang, who's part of our noon CrossFit crew. Angie is a working career woman. She has a professional gig by day, also has young kids under the age of 10. She's married, and she had done some fitness before she came to us. But let's hear from her and what she says. Hey, Angie, maybe somebody out there is scared to try CrossFit. What would you tell that person?
About it. What would you say to them?
First of all, they could come talk to me because I was that person. I had thought about doing CrossFit for about 2 years before I had actually signed up here at CFE. I wish now if I wouldn't have known what I know now, I would have signed up way sooner. There are people that start everywhere here. There are people that walk into these doors that have never been to a gym. There are people who are fit that come here. They tailor and we modify here at CFE. So wherever you're at, they work with you. And anybody, anywhere, any shape or form can come here and work out and they will feel at home.
So that was Angie Lang. Next, we're going to hear from Angel Bays. Angel is an amazing woman. She's also a professional career woman. She works as a professional coach, not with our organization, but elsewhere. And she's also a mother of 2 amazing young kids who are both part of our CrossFit Kids program. And Angel, as a single working mom, has a really interesting perspective on how she would respond to people that are frightened of CrossFit. So let's hear from Angel next.
On the other side of facing your fear, that we don't get.
So what would you say to somebody who's scared to try CrossFit?
I would say that victory is on the other side of facing your fear, that we don't get stronger and we don't get wins in life and have that I can attitude with anything in life unless we're willing to face our fears.
I love that reminder that, a lot of times things that are scary on the outside, once you actually face down that fear and step across that threshold, you realize that it wasn't as scary as it seemed. And there's so much reward and benefit and blessing that comes from taking those bold steps. And for a lot of people, maybe this is your story, just going to the CrossFit gym, just to take a look at things, to step through those front doors for the first time, that might be a really bold step for you. And if it is, we want to make that first step as easy and painless and effortless and unscary as possible. I'll talk more about how you can do that a little later on. Next, we're going to talk to Chris Broader. Chris is part of our 9:30 a.m. CrossFit crew. He also does both group CrossFit classes as well as he has his own private coach at CrossFit that results to help him work on his goals. He's a local business owner. He has kids who are in sports, particularly hockey. His kids play hockey, and some of his kids actually trained with us as cross-training for those sports. But we'll hear from Chris, a married, working, professional dad, a business owner, who, like, by definition, he's a busy guy. He's got a lot going on. And let's just hear what he has to say about being scared to try CrossFit.
Somebody who's scared to try CrossFit.
So the coaches are great here. They're going to walk you through everything, every movement, make sure you don't get hurt. So they'll walk you through it. And without this hour of my day, it'd be rough to get through it. So give it a try.
Cool. One of the most common benefits that we hear from our CrossFitters is like the emotional health benefits, the feeling better benefits, like how it helps to address stress and anxiety and worry. And, get a good workout. You just feel so much better. It helps make everything else, all the other difficult stuff in life, becomes easier. And I love hearing that affirmation from Chris about how it helps him to deal with the stress of being in business for himself and juggling family and work and all that. So, Broader, if you listen to this, thank you for your story. Up next, we're going to hear from Andrew Hughes. Andrew is a professional carpenter. He's married. He has 3 amazing young kids, all of whom have been a part of our CrossFit Kids program also. And we're going to hear and we'll ask him, hey, somebody's scared to try CrossFit. What do you tell them?
Andrew, what would you tell those people who say they're scared to try CrossFit?
You only live one time. Give it a shot. There's nothing bad that can come from it.
So that's Andrew. And then finally, to wrap up our podcast here, we're going to throw it over to Carmen Ruiz. Carmen's an awesome gal, part of our morning CrossFit crew. And she's a mom. Actually, she's a grandmom. So her daughters have joined us to work out with us also. She's a mother, a grandmother, a working professional nurse at a local hospital, and an awesome girl. Let's hear from Carmen about what she thinks about this topic.
Should people be scared to try CrossFit?
No. They should be more afraid not to do CrossFit because you can't keep doing the same thing and expect improved results. You have to get in here and apply yourself to be fitter, stronger. It gives you more focus in life to do life.
So in this podcast, we've heard from a handful of real CrossFitters about what it's really like doing CrossFit here at CrossFit Edwardsville. And you probably still have questions, probably still stuff you're wondering about. So if you're interested, you're intrigued, maybe you're captivated by the CrossFit thing, it's clearly, you can see from a distance, it's a more exciting, more effective way to exercise. Is it for you? Do a deep dive on the socials. Google CrossFit Edwardsville. Read our Google reviews. We have 1,000 of them. Read our Facebook reviews. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever social media is your flavor. And then when you're ready, click over to CrossFitEdwardsville.com. You can book a no-sweat conversation with the coach here, and they'll help to chart out what does your unique to you CrossFit journey look like. What does it look like for you to transition into this CrossFit thing? So thanks again for joining us on the podcast. And guys, we will see you in the next one.